This video is a direct continuation of the previous video about projectile motion. If you haven't seen that video, I'd recommend you go ahead and watch that now before watching this one. So this is VS Code. I've already gone through the time of flight function and the calculate projectile points function, but there's a whole bunch of code here which I haven't gone through. You can see this class is called snowball paths, not snowball path. So that gives you the impression that there are multiple paths here, and that's correct. There are actually two paths. There is one, which is the path of dots, which I've explained already, the 20 dots that are opaque red you see in the game. But there's also a line path, and the line path is the path that the snowball follows. So it's similar to the 20-point path, but the 20-point dot path is just for the player to see where the snowball is going. It doesn't actually follow those dots, they're just sprites. It follows the line path. So let me go through that. I'm not going to talk about this because this is unnecessary for this video, but I've gone through this so you know how the point coordinates work. And here, this is how the coordinates are assigned to the dot. So I've got a variable called line path, which is just an array of FLX points, and that is used by the snowball sprite over here. That is linked together by the state, which I won't go through, but the state links those two things together, and so the snowball follow the path when the player has thrown the snowball. The line path gets the FLX point, but also this dot variable, which is grabbed from this dot group, also gets the position, and that's what the player sees. The group dots is essentially a group of sprites which are created here. So these dots are created quite early on in the game process. There are always 20 dots which have an opacity of 0, and the position of the dots are set when the player throws the snowball, and then it's set to an opacity of 1 or an alpha of 1, and that's how they're visible to the player. Let me explain that again. When the game starts, 20 dots are created with an alpha of 0. The player can't see them, and they have a position of 0, 0. So they are always in the top left hand of the game, you just can't see them. And then when the player throws the snowball, they all change their positions and they have an alpha of 1. Then when the player throws the snowball, it runs this kill dots function, which puts every single dot to an alpha of 0. So they're in the same position, but the player can't see them until the player throws the snowball again, so hits the throw button, and then they set their positions and show an alpha of 1. And that's how this is working. Then we have the line path, which is using a Haxe vector. This naming is quite confusing, but a vector in Haxe is basically an array with a set length. So this array has a set length of 20, which is getting it from the number of points. And this is a good way to set the array length in memory, which is a way to help with the performance of the game. And when this is created, it gets each item in the array, so each item of 20, and makes them an FLX point with this position. So this is an invisible line, which is only useful for the snowball sprite, and it's always there pretty much when the player throws the snowball. They just can't see it. And that's pretty much it. That is how this snowball projectile effect works. I hope you found it useful. If you found it confusing, please let me know in the comments below. I'm not sure if I did a good job of explaining it, but I hope somebody out there found it useful. As usual, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. And before I go, I forgot to mention, this code is live and public on GitHub for you to go through and read in detail if any parts of the video didn't make sense. By the time you watch this video, it wouldn't look like this, it will be more updated. But I will put a link to this code in the description of this video for you to go through at your own pace. Okay, now I'm actually ending the video. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, goodbye.